Hey everyone, this is Mike from Utilsec, and in this video we're going to look at how we exploit the MS08-067 vulnerability in Windows XP using Metasploit. So the vulnerable version of Windows XP we're going to be attacking is hosted in the Hack the Box cloud, which is going to be at 10.10.10.4. So we're going to go ahead and do a basic port scan using Nmap against that host at 10.10.10.4. And we're going to go ahead and tell Nmap not to try and ping the host first. We're just going to go ahead and scan for the top 1,000 most common ports. We know the host is online because it's in the Hack the Box platform. We've enabled it, and now you can see that we get our Nmap results back. Now, what we're focused on here is that we see open ports on TCP 139 and 445, which are associated with Microsoft SMB and NetBIOS, primarily for our discussion here. And so now that we know that those services exist and we don't see any other ports based off of this simple port scan, but for this conversation, we want to go ahead and run some additional checks against those ports to see if they're vulnerable to any type of known exploits. So Nmap actually comes with some additional scripts that we can use through the scripting engine to determine if these services are vulnerable to some of those common exploits. So we're going to go back and to our original Nmap scan, and we're going to we're just going to specify, oh, let's just do this on ports 139 and 445. And really, we could just do 445, but we're going to go ahead and do both. We're going to specify the script scan, and then Nmap actually comes with an entire, if we want, almost like suite of SMB vulnerability checks. And they all begin with the SMB-vuln descriptor. And so we can use the wildcard to say, hey, run all of these SMB-vuln checks against the remote host. We're going to go ahead and hit enter. And then it shouldn't take too long since we're already on the network. And you can see, boom, we have our results back and we can look at those. So this machine is actually susceptible or vulnerable to two of the most popular SMB vulnerabilities that we have out there. You can actually see, though, for our discussion right now, we're looking at, yes, we can see that here's a listing for SMB or MS08-067. And according to Nmap, it does look like the system is vulnerable. So since Nmap is telling us that it looks like this host is vulnerable, then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and clear this out. So once we found the vulnerable host in Hack the Box, we're going to go ahead and launch the Metasploit console. And in the Metasploit framework, in the tool, we're going to go ahead and look for first the exploit for the MS-067 vulnerability. And you can see in this case, there's only one exploit available for that vulnerability. We can go ahead and specify load it into Metasploit by either specifying the entire name, or what we can just do is say use, and then we can specify the number on the line item to load that exploit. And you can see now we have the exploit loaded and ready for use by Metasploit. Now there's sometimes multiple pieces of information that we have to specify or give Metasploit in order for it to run. Now, to find out what pieces of information we need to provide, we're going to type in the word options. In this case, you can see that under the required column, we can see if a piece of information is required for this exploit to run. In this case, the bottom two have already been provided by default for us, and we're just going to leave those the same for now. So in this case, we just need to specify the value for our host. The R stands for remote. So in this case, Metasploit's asking us for the IP address of our target. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and set our host to 10.10.10.4. We're going to type in options one more time just to make sure that the IP address was set. And now that it is, we're going to type in run. And once it runs, Metasploit is going to spin up a service on the local machine on TCP 4444, launch the exploit, and then establish a connection in what we call a interpreter session, which is a special environment within Metasploit that allows us to run additional commands in Windows. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and type in the word shell, which that drops us out of interpreter, and you can see it's just like we're sitting on that box at the Windows command prompt. And you can see that we're actually on that box by typing the hostname command, and you can see we're on this remote Windows box named legacy. And that's how we can use Nmap to find vulnerable systems to the MS08 vulnerability, and we can use Metasploit to actually attack it.